द्रष्टा दर्शनदेश्य भू कर्ता हेतुः क्रिया यस्मात् तस्मै ज्ञात्यात्मने नमः। स्फुरन्ति सीकरा यस्मात् आनन्दस्याम्बरे वनौ सर्वेषां जीवनं तस्मै ब्रह्मानन्दात्मने नमः। ब्रह्मानन्दात्मने नमः। वेदोदधिं समुन्मथ्य ज्ञानरत्नं समुद्रितं येन तस्मै वसिष्ठाय गुरुणां गुरवे नमः। वशिष्ठ जी भगवान की जय। सद्गुरु भगवान की जय। शब्द ब्रह्म की जय। सरस्वती महारानी की जय। जो वशिष्ठ जी भगवान की जय। हरे Today we are going to discuss our old chapter on which we spend a lot of time. The 33rd chapter of Yoga Vasistha Nirbana Prakarana, last part, and in that also second part. Nirbana Prakarana, Uttarardha and second part. So, we were discussing the outgoing or extrovertness of the mind, and the opposite also, the introvertness of it. And the mind goes out to have contact with objects which are out of the sight. Out of the sight means which are extrovert, which are outside of the body, mind, senses, everything. So, mind means thought waves. Through the help of senses, it goes out to have contact. It's a tendency, and tendency has got also some purpose. Purpose is to know, to have the knowledge of the object outside, and that knowledge also, it is momentary and haphazard, subject to change. So, to have full knowledge, 100%, that means to have oneness with it, that is the urge, that is the purpose, but it doesn't happen. So, it goes out always to seek for the fullness, to have completeness or fullness, to have complete knowledge. But we generally we don't get it, because everything is subject to change. So again and again, eternally, as long as the mind and subconscious mind and this body or senses will be there, they will be always naturally extrovert, because they are not never satisfied. and that's how it becomes extrovert. And we need to make it introvert only to give up this tendency. So the question comes, if the mind, mainly mind with all these group, it becomes extrovert only to have fullness, completeness. So why should you stop it? Why? The question comes, it must go on. One day or other, somehow or other, we'll have full knowledge of it. But that doesn't happen because the outside world is not really existing. It is something elusive. In the Vedanta, they give the example of the snake on rope. Rope is reality, and snake is just some elusive idea because we don't see clearly what is present there on that ununderstood, unseen reality. We have some idea somehow or other, maybe it is a snake. So, really, when we get the knowledge of reality, we come to know that snake was never there, nor will be there in 3 periods of time. Snake is always absent. We think of absent to be present, which is not there, we think it is there. So, the world also is like this. So, what happens if we go in search for some full knowledge or haphazard knowledge or whatever we seek out of it, which is not there? It is simply useless effort. That means if the mind becomes extrovert and always is ever engaged in searching for bliss or happiness, that is useless, that is in vain. No result you can get. That's how, though it searches for pleasure or to know the reality, to have uninterrupted bliss, happiness, it cannot happen because when you analyze, we see all these extra outside world, all the names and forms, they are temporary, they just appear to be something which is not really there, and that something also, it goes on changing according to time, place, space, and conditions. That's how the extrovertness is useless and we cannot get any result of it. So the need comes to stop it and to be introvert, to make the mind not go out but be inside. So what is to do inside? What is inside and what is outside, that also should be clear. Outside means outside the body, senses, and because body is the barrier, body is the uh, form which has got boundary lines, demarcating lines. This is called, under these lines, body is known. Outward sketch, body, it has got some form. So form means some lining will be there. And that's how within the form, within the body, that is known as inside, and outside the body is known as outside. So what happens? Outside all these mind and intellect, etc., all the fourfold mind, and our prana also, and our senses also, everything is always extrovert because they have the tendency to move. So when one moves, naturally it has to cross the border and go. Movement means every moment there is a pause and stoppage and then movement. That is interruptional movement. Motion means there will be interruptions. Steadiness is eternal. The reality has got no motion, though it is understood or explained as it can move faster than mind also, because it is ever present, everywhere, omnipresent. That's how it cannot be expressed in words. So we may say it moves at its will, because it is ever present everywhere. Just as a whole body, if I want to move from my nose to my toe, of course, the feeling is all pervading. I am ever present everywhere in the body. But when I give up the feeling of a part, that is nose, and I feel the other part, the toe, though there is no motion, yet we have to express, yes, from the nose, the body idea has gone to toe. It is only some vague idea, not really there. So, to express something on the reality, we have to say it is ever present, so everywhere, omnipresent, so it has got motion. Just as I go from nose to toe. So also, wherever you think of the absolute, it is present there. In this way, we express something about the truth, but it is omnipresent. That's how it is ever steady. There is no motion and there is no interruption. And that's how it is always in. If some borderline is there, it will give the idea of in and out. Because of body, we think something is in, something is out. But omnipresent truth cannot have anything inside or outside. This idea is wrong idea to apply on the truth. So, because it is omnipresent, there is no in or out, there is no border. So, we call it limitless. There is no limit, there is no boundary. So, it can be taken as always inside, or if you have some idea about inside and outside, then we have to say both are possible. It is ever inside and ever outside. So on this basis, if we understand this, then we have to say the absolute truth is always introvert, it is always inside. And if you say it is always outside, that's also true. If whatever you feel as outside, that's the only truth. the absolute truth. So nothing else can exist other than the truth. In this way, if introvertness we have to understand in both way, both way. Introvertness also can be, extrovertness can be understood as introvertness. How? Because it is ever present everywhere, omnipresent. So, wherever it is outside only. And words cannot explain it. If we say outside, it is always outside. And if we think something is outside, that is only the truth. And otherwise, opposite, if it is inside, then everywhere there is inside. Because it is ever present, omnipresent. So, wherever you think of the absolute, however you think, whatever you think, it is inside only. So, here what we try to understand, to make the mind introvert, extrovertness should be uh, turned into introvertness. So what does it mean? It means both way, both way, both way. Either whatever you have idea about outside, all outside should be turned into insideness. That means there is no outside. Whatever you feel outside, that is only the absolute truth which is ever present in all conditions everywhere, and it is omnipresent, omniscient and omnipotent. So there is no outside. If at all you have some idea of outside, then it is only the truth. This is called also the extrovert mind is turned into introvert. Understood? When there is no outside, then everything is inside. And otherwise, if you have the body of idea of body, then we have the inner and outer ideas. So don't go out. Mind always goes out by the help of senses to have something, some pleasure or some knowledge or something, so have contact. As usual, our life is. So that should be stopped, and mind should be withdrawn, and it should be fixed inside the body. And where is the inside body? Body has got some center where from the whole body activities go on. So that center is known as heart, which has got no elements. Outside world we have imagined because of 5 elements and 5 tanmatras, means units, and mixing up everything. So names and forms we have created mentally only, which is not there, and that should be converted into no name, no form, no mixture, no elements. So that also can be inside the body. Inside the body, the center is the heart, which has got no elements, no mind, no nothing, no modification. It is purest, that means it has got no attribute at all. So, that is called, we have to when we analyze, we have to take it for granted that motionless, attributeless, or adjectiveless or qualityless, that state is called introvertness. That is real inside. And what else we think, that will be outside to that center. So, to withdraw the mind from the outside of the body and control the senses and control the outgoing tendency of the senses and mind, all these, withdrawing all these and ending all these in that absolute inner center, which is known as heart, which is attributeless, nameless, formless, and no adjective for it, adjectiveless, qualityless, which is outside also and also inside. So that is the center of the you. I means I have got some body, I have got some heart, and I have got some outside. I have some inside ideas. So all these we have to give up and be always centered, means always resting in the center, that is called introvertness of mind, senses, everything. That means resting in the center without any movement. That is understood as introvertness, and that is the aim of our life. Extrovertness, of course, in a sense, if you can accept outside and inside everywhere the absolute is present, then there is no extrovertness, there is no outside, no inside, that is also allowed. The whole world is nothing but the center. Whole universe, whatever we see as outside of us, that is also inside, and that's how we can feel the presence of the Absolute everywhere. That's how the great Vedas, they declare the truth is omnipresent, omnipotent, and omniscient. Because everywhere it is present, so everything is under control, so omnipotent. And because everywhere it is present, so it knows everything, just as our body. I know about my nose and I know about my toe. So I am all-knowing as a body. In this sense, the truth is omniscient. It knows everything. And that's how it is present everywhere and it controls everything. My body is under my control. You may question, if whole body is under your control, in accident, how do you lose your hand? Why? How? It was in your control, how you cut out your hand because it was rotting and it was not fit to keep with the body. So how it is possible? It is possible as long as body is permanent, so we are, if it is permanent, then we have all control. But it is not permanent, it is ever changing. So our control also changes. Understood the logic? Logic. The body is not ever existing. It is not eternal, it is subject to change. So our control also changes. It is subject to change. Relatively, we say it is my body, it is under my control. That's how it is relatively said. It is not reality. Anyhow, this we are discussing, and with many types of logic, examples and analysis, we have discussed a lot on it, and we had list on the 34th sloka of it. जैसे आत्मा में स्वप्न का अनुभव भ्रांति है, वैसे ही ब्रह्म रूपी समुद्र में अविद्या जनित सर्ग रूपता ब्रह्मा की तरंगों में तरंगे भी भ्रांति रूप ही है और कुछ नहीं। वस्तुतस्तु आत्मा में न स्वप्न है एवं न सर्ग रूपता ही है। This is what we were discussing. He says, all these outside world, what we think to be true, that is the dream of the Absolute. What the way we see in the dream, that we know it is not permanent, it is not true, it changes when we come to the waking state. All those dream objects, they have no importance when we are in the waking state. All of us, we see dreams. Last night you must have seen something. I also saw some dreams. I don't know what was it. But when I got up, it was not strong enough. I could not remember anything of the dream. And sometimes strong dreams, they are little sustainable. After waking up for an hour or two, if we want to remember, we can remember. That also shows it is not permanent. We forget it. So dreams are not real in this sense. In this sense. And deep sleep also, in dream also, I is present. I know I slept nicely. I dreamt also. Now I have come to waking state. I am aware of myself. But all these are not reality. Why? Because that I who says I had slept nicely, it has got dual aspect. One is ever present, one aspect is ever present. It knows but it cannot express. The other, when you get up, oh, I was sleeping body-wise, mind-wise, I was sleeping. When we think of the mind or body, or tiredness, or bed, or lying down, then we think I was sleeping. But experience-wise, which is ever present in all conditions, somebody is there, some aspect is there, which was same at the deep sleep state and at the dream state, and now also it is there present, but it is covered up. We don't remember it continuously. We remember some, we think of some other objects which is present in dream, in deep sleep, in waking also. It is ever present truth, but we forget it, and in dream also it is there. It feels I am dreaming, but it cannot express itself that I am dreaming while dreaming. When he gets up, means when the phase changes, activeness changes, then we say, oh, I had some dreams. And truly speaking, analytically, if we see this waking state also just like a dream, and deep sleep state also is just like a dream, because it is subject to change. Dream changes and something remains while changing, it remains changing for a longer period, and sometimes some phase lasts for little smaller period. Dream we dream only for some minutes or some hours, but our waking state persists for a longer time. So we give importance to the longer time experience, and we think it is real. Waking state is real, and dream state is nothing, good for nothing. And similarly, we can think of deep sleep also. If you sleep for 2-3 hours with sound sleep, that also is for little time, and that's how it is less when we compare to our waking period. So we don't give importance to it. We call this is real, waking state is real, other two are good for nothing. Dream also and also deep sleep. They are not real. It is only comparatively. And similarly, when we compare all these three states with the eternal state, which unchangeable state, then this also becomes a dream. Dream. Dream means literally dream is different, but meaningly dream is short existing phase of our life. That's all. Which is not permanent, which is subject to change. That is called dream. So analytically our waking state also similar to dream. Waking state changes, we go to deep sleep. Deep sleep changes, we go to dream. So everything changes. Which is changeable, that is not reality. And which is unchangeable, that is called truth. That is common परिभाषा क्या कहते हैं, definition. In this way, if we try to understand analytically, then all the world, whatever we experience outside or inside world, which is subject to change, that is just like a dream. And who dreams? If the outside world is dream, then who is the dreamer? So question rises, isn't it? Who is the dreamer? If I am the dreamer, I am dreaming, no, I cannot accept. Because I, as a personal, individual being, I have got 4 phases. Eh? This is waking stage, so it is not a dream. Different than this, there is a dream for me. So this cannot be my existing waking state cannot be dream. I cannot accept as a individual limited being. So I cannot take it as a dream. It is real. But analytically when we see, there is some aspect which is ever present in everyone. We feel something is changing. I am the witness of these changing states. That witness is truth, witnessing aspect, and that always we forget. That's how it is limited. Because of forgetfulness, we have understood or we have expressed it as a limited existence, and that is the individual being. It is limited. How? How it is limited? It is limited by limitness. Limiting means to draw some borderline, lines, and it has got, that's how it has got a form, and so it will have a name, and so it is different from other existences, limited agents. So in this way we are different from each other, individuals, but yet something is there which is witnessing all these, everywhere it is present. So that is called the cosmic presence. That we can say cosmic being. It has got also limit. If it thinks I, then it is limited. So it is, we as per our ideas, we have taken it as a cosmic being, which is the dreamer of these creations. He dreams. And as I, an individual being, I am also present in that cosmic presence. So in that sense, I am the dreamer. And in limited body sense, I am awake, and it is not a dream. And to make the mind introvert, we have to forget all these, delete all these, or give up all these individualities, idea of body, and idea of outward world, and something outside is there, inside is something there. All these ideas are vague, good for nothing. They create misunderstanding and confusions. All these have to be given up, and then if the mind rests without doing anything, without having any ideas or any thoughts or any contact with inside or outside, that is called real introvertness. That means from other angle of vision, yogic angle, this is analytical and logical state. This is called introvertness. And from yogic angle of vision, Patanjali Yoga of vision, mind is there, mind is always restless, and its movements are known as waves or breathage. So it should stop. That means stopping the mind. That is called introvertness. From different angle, when you see, the same thing appears differently. So from different angles. This introvertness, you may go through different languages and different expressions of great people. But inner idea is this: we have to understand steadiness of everything is called introvertness. Take it as anything, any manner as you like. See it from any angle of vision. Steadiness, absolute equilibrium is known as introvertness. And if you create some ideas or attribute some ideas or names or forms or some movements or some changes, then that is called extrovertness. This is universal definition of introvertness and extrovertness. Movement is called, motion is called extrovertness, and steadiness is called introvertness. Final. So to understand this point, we have to go through many examples, many type of analysis from different logics. We have to, because this mind never accepts everything at all of a sudden. So we have to look for different examples, different types of analysis. You have to understand the central idea of introvertness. It is nothing but extrovertness. They have got no difference in meaning, but relatively there is difference. Extrovertness is outside. The extrovertness means the movement outside, and introvertness also movement inside. Movement is not at all taken as introvertness. Even you think of your body, inside body, there are 5 layers of existence in the body, 5 phases or 5 layers. We call it Manomoy Kosh, Annamay Kosh, Vijnanamay Kosh, Anandamay Kosh, ityadi, ityadi. There are different layers of our existence. So, even if you think Vijnanamay Kosh, I am inside, that is not inside, that is relatively inside or outside. When there is no question of in and out, that is called real introvertness. And that is universally accepted as the truth. And introvert, all these ideas of discussion, the idea or the purpose is to rest in the absolute forever. That is called introvertness. So extrovertness has to be given up. That means to stop the mind. परमार्थ दशा में ब्रह्म का स्वरूप क्या है? इसे कहते हैं एकमेव, एकमेव निराभास अचिंत्यम अजडम समम न सन्नात न सत न असत न सन्ना सनम सदसदीद व्ययम advayam. So he has given some ideas that we can say adjectives to how to understand the absolute. So we have to explain to have some idea, but all these explanation and ideas or any attributes what we think of the absolute, they are not really so. But to express, we have to use some types of language, some verbal language or body language or mental language. We can think something, or we can say something about it, or we can speak something about it, or we can think, we can have some ideas about the truth. All these are not reality, but they are real in sense. They can indicate the reality, the absolute. So all these are called indicative or symbolic language. See, in that sense, it is one without a second. Ekameva. The absolute cannot be true, two, because it is all pervading and ever existing and all knowing, all powerful. So there cannot be two in this sense. It can be only one. So there is one without a second. Why? Why to say without a second? One is always one. But you see, relatively, when we think of one digit or we speak one, then there is some idea of something else other than one, that is two, three, etc. That's how it, to confirm it, we say one. It is not two. Idea, did you understand? How many temples are there down below? There are three temples. And which one you are seeing now? I am seeing one. That means not the other two. To confirm it, to centralize it, we have to say one. That means relatively there is possibility of two, three and more than that. So to confirm it, we have to say one without a second. This is how we call absolutely one, or absolutely means no relativity is there. And this is according to philosophy, and according to modern science, they say the absolute singularity, because it is philosophy language one without a second. So they don't want to use the philosophical language. So they have their own language. Everybody has his own language. You are also free to use your language. Huh? Language is nothing but expression of your ideas. So they express it as absolute singularity. There is no chance of duality. So that we say one without a second. Anyhow, that is, of course, if we think like this is an idea which we attribute on the absolute truth. But this idea is not to be taken to consideration, but it's a idea's indicative idea should be taken. Indicative idea, not the language, not this idea. This idea also indicates something else, which is beyond ideas. That should be understood, and if that is understood, then thoroughly, then mind cannot work there, speech cannot reach there, or senses, of course, they are away since long. They cannot reach their boundaries. It is beyond their limits. So at that state, we have to be absolutely silent. That is the state of the absolute, that is the language of the absolute, and that is also the expression of the absolute silence. So that is called ekameva. In this way, we have to see some adjectives, some which can give us some indicative ideas. तो the absolute is one without a second. वो एक ही है, उसमें कोई आभास है, उसमें कोई आभास है नहीं, उसमें कोई आभास नहीं है, न कोई चित्त रूप दूसरा धर्म है, न जड़ता है, किंतु समता है. One by one, this attribute we have to, or adjective we have to understand thoroughly. One we have understood now how it is one. Now, there is no attributes there. What is called attribute? It is attribute-less. How it is? And this is the state of introvertness. We are discussing on introvertness of the outgoing mind, extrovert mind. So, all these are language, it has got same meaning, everything, same meaning. Don't be puzzled. So, attribute-less, attribute is taken as meaning of the attribute. The reality is taken as something else. How it is, that is what we give always the example in Vedanta. Sarparaju. You are going somewhere in dark night and you could not see something lying on the road, and it was not clear to you, but you see something is there. It was little zigzag, so you thought of the snake and you got afraid of the present situation. And then you have to think so many things. Go on thinking, oh, it may be very poisonous, or no, it will get away, it is just lying down, it will not do any harm to me, or it is very harmful. Something positive, negative, so many things you will go on thinking, which is not real. And afterwards, when somebody comes behind you with a torch light and you are able to see it clearly, it was not a snake, and it was a rope or something, zigzag, some wood piece, or something which is not reality you could see, but attribute, that is called snake, is called attribute. You have imagined something else on the reality, because you could not see the reality clearly, so you had some idea instead of the real existence. That is called attribute. And so, the aspect which is accepted instead of the reality, that is called attribute. This much will not be enough for us to understand. Not only the snake and the rope, that example is applicable everywhere. On you also, on the tree, on the river, whatever we see outside or inside, whatever we see, all these are taken as attributes. Because all these, just like the snake changed and reality we saw it was not the snake, it was something else. Similarly, whatever you see as changing phenomena, including your body and individual self, whatever you have idea of yourself, all these are subject to change. Outside world with all the names and forms, and inside world our relations, mental connections, relations, our love and hatred, our relative aspects with the whole world, that also is subject to change. So, whatever we think, whatever we see, whatever we know till now, all these are called attributes because they are subject to change. Huh? So your body, your mind, and your name and form, everything comes under this category, attributes. Another example you can understand, in the cinema, some actors, they act movies, and in dramas, in different other plays. Everywhere we see somebody plays the role of somebody else. Just as, say, Ramayana or in some movies also. So everybody knows, everybody sees it. So somebody plays the part of somebody else who is not present there. Huh? To show I am so and so. To say I am not Swamiji, I am a traveler. I am a, if I go to the bazaar, I am not a Swamiji. I am a purchaser, customer of some sellers, isn't it? If I go to some school and give some advices, lectures, then I am not Swamiji, I am the lecturer. In this way, the aspects go on changing every moment. So whatever you think to be, that is not the reality, that is an attribute. If a person plays the role of other person, that is otherwise also we see if a hero, if a actor plays the part of some other person, say Gandhiji is not now here, Gandhiji has passed away since long, and some drama of Gandhiji's life was going on, so some boy will play the part of Gandhi. So what happens? That boy is different and Gandhiji is different. So what happens? That boy, while playing the role, he doesn't think that he is so and so. That boy, he doesn't think I am Gandhiji and I am the boy. But he, at the time of playing the role, he has to think himself, I am Gandhi. Then only he can play the role well. Now, people also, the spectators also, they have to, they see the boy not as the boy because it has changed its form, its outward form is made up. It has been designed as Gandhiji's body. Huh? So the spectators think he is Gandhiji. They don't know, they don't recognize the boy who is playing the role. So the boy is reality, and Gandhiji's attributes, whatever we have put on that boy, and we are thinking now he is Gandhiji. This is called attribute. He is not Gandhiji, he is the real boy, it is hidden, it is not known to spectators, and reality is hidden, and the unreality has overpowered it. So this is called attribute. So whatever you see, whatever you hear, or whatever you know, which is subject to change, that is called attribute. Clear? The whole world is attribute on the truth, because we are unable to see the truth. Seeing means not only by the eyes, always you have to take it as seeing means to perceive it through your senses, mind, intellect, everything. So उसमें कोई अध्यास आभास नहीं है. आभास तो है पर अध्यास नहीं है. आभास मतलब दिखना. It looks like something, and we don't understand, we are confused what it is. है ना स्वामी जी? आभास मतलब जो दिखाई दे रहा है, अध्यास मतलब जो एट्रीब्यूट दिया गया. आभास है. आभास, it looks like something which is not clear. न कोई चित्य रूप दूसरा धर्म है. चिंत्य रूप. There is no other aspect of the truth which can be taken as real. There is no other aspect, because it is one without a second. So other aspects are impossible. Just as the boy can be able to play the role of Gandhiji or somebody else. But here it is impossible, because there is no other than it. Understood now? You can play the part of Mother Mary, isn't it? Because Mother Mary and you are separate aspects, isn't it? But here you are all alone, ever existing, no other is there. So how can you play the part of others? Understood? That is called, there is no aspect which can be taken as its property or adjective or quality. It is qualityless, propertyless, adjectiveless. It cannot be attributed on that. न जड़ता है. Sometimes we have to say, sometimes, because we cannot say anything on it, so we can say it is unexpressible, it is nothing, or it is जड़ता. जड़ता का इंग्लिश क्या करेंगे सांजी? Inert. Inert means it is a word. It has got some meaning. So it is inert. It cannot do anything. It cannot move. That is called jad. Jad. Deep rooted means it cannot be uprooted. Acha. But it cannot have any growth. It has not no movement. That is called jadata. And sometimes we call it sthanu, means just like stone, unmovable, which has got no visible motion. Of course, everything in this world is subject to change. So change is called motion. So stone also is subject to change. So it has got motion. So we cannot say it is inert from that sense. But physically, relatively, we call it inert, it has got no motion. Always you have to take positive and opposite of it. Relative world. So, stone is taken, usually it is thanu, motionless, but analytically it has got motion. So it is taken as inert. So we give the example of inert objects to the absolute because nobody knows its, nobody can see its movement or nobody can think any movement of it. So we call it is thanu, movementless or inert, or what we can say, nirjeev. Sometimes that also we attribute. It has got no life, lifeless. But from other sense, it is the source of all lives, and the substratum of all lives. So because we cannot see it, then we can say invisible or unacceptable or attributeless. When there is attribute or names or forms or some aspect, then only we can think of it.